Fanny agreed to it, and had the pleasure of seeing him continue at the window with her, in spite of the expected glee, and of having his eyes soon turned, like hers, towards the scene without, where all that was solemn and soothing and lovely appeared in the brilliancy of an unclouded night and the contrast of the deep shade of the woods. Fanny spoke her feelings. "Here's harmony," she said. "Here's repose. Here's what may leave all painting and all music behind, and what poetry only can attempt to describe. Here's what may tranquilize every care and lift the heart to rapture. When I look out on such a night as this, I feel as if there could be neither wickedness nor sorrow in the world. And there certainly would be less of both if the sublimity of nature were more attended to, and people were carried more out of themselves by contemplating such a scene." "I like to hear your enthusiasm, Fanny. It is a lovely night, and they are much to be pitied who have not been taught to feel, in some degree, as you do, who have not, at least, been given a taste for nature in early life. They lose a great deal."
What I regret most in the details of my life, which I have forgotten, is that I did not keep a diary of my travels. Never have I thought so much. Never have I realized my own existence so much, been so much alive, been so much myself, if I may so say, as in those journeys which I have made alone and afoot. Walking has something in it which animates and heightens my ideas. I can scarcely think when I stay in one place. My body must be set a-going if my mind is to work. The sight of the country, the succession of beautiful scenes, the great breeze, the good appetite, the health which I gain by walking, the getting away from inns, the escape from everything which reminds me of my lack of independence, from everything which reminds me of my unlucky fate. All this releases my soul, gives me greater courage of thought, throws me, as it were, into the midst of the immensity of the objects of nature, which I may combine, from which I may choose at will, which I may make my own carelessly and without fear. I make use of all nature as her master. My heart, surveying one object after another, unites itself, identifies itself with those in sympathy with it, surrounds itself with delightful images, intoxicates itself with emotions the most exquisite.
The day declined to its close. The September stillness lulled peacefully and with inexpressible sweetness. The sky had lost its full summer gleam and was a hazy dove color. Over the ditch apple leaves carried God knows whence, rustled their exuberant purple. The road disappeared over the unjolting crest of the hills. In vain did it beckon to pass along it, beyond the emerald, dreamily uncertain horizon, into unseen space. Held down to their nuts in their daily round, the people pinned in their labor, exhausted their strength on the threshing floor, and the road, a deserted, yearning track, flowed across the horizon into the unseen. The wind trod along it, with aimless elegance steering up the dust. They parted without a word of farewell, and went off in different directions. When swept out of its normal channel, life scatters into innumerable streams. It is difficult to foresee which it will take in its treacherous and winding course. Where today it flows like shallows, like a rivulet over sandbox, so shallow that the shoals are visible, tomorrow it will flow richly and fully.
November wakened from her dream of May in a bad temper. The day after the picnic, a cold autumn rain set in, and we got up to find our world a drenched, wind-writhen place with sodden fields and dour skies. The rain was weeping on the roof as if it were shedding the tears of old sorrows. The willow by the gate tossed its gaunt branches wildly, as if it were some passionate spectral thing, wringing its fleshless hands in agony. The orchard was haggard and uncomely. Nothing seemed the same except the staunch, trusty old spruces. In the evening, the rain ceased. The wind came around to the northwest, freezing suddenly, and a chilly yellow sunset beyond the dark hills seemed to herald a brighter morrow. The morning dawned on a beautiful world. A very slight fall of snow had come in the night, just enough to look like a filmy veil of lace flung over the dark evergreens and the hard frozen ground. A new blossom time seemed to have revisited the orchard. The spruce wood behind the house appeared to be woven out of enchantment. There is nothing more beautiful than a thickly growing wood of firs, lightly powdered with new fallen snow. As the sun remained hidden by dark gray clouds, this fairy beauty lasted all day. Our summer was over. It had been a beautiful one. We had known the sweetness of common joys, the delight of dawns, the dream and glamour of moontides, the long, purple peace of carefree nights. We had had the pleasure of birdsong, of silver rain on greening fields, of storm among the trees, of blossomy meadows, and of the converse of whispering leaves. We had had brotherhood with wind and star, with books and tales, and hearth fires of autumn. Ours had been the little loving tasks of every day, blithe in companionship, shared thoughts, and adventuring. Rich were we in the memory of those opulent months that had gone from us, richer than we then knew or suspected. And before us was the dream of spring. It is always safe to dream of spring, for it is sure to come. And if it be not just as we have pictured it, it will be infinitely sweeter.